The Center for Educational Media and the College of Education at Middle Tennessee State University are proud to offer professional development to K-12 educators in Tennessee through our online video library. These videos are aligned with standards set by the Tennessee Department of Education. For more professional development videos, check out our website at www.mtsu.edu/CEM.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Dahlman, and I'm the Supervisor of Assessments and ESL here in Hamblen County. I would like to introduce my other counterparts, and collectively we make up the Department of Multilingual Learner Instruction. I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Hannah Hopper. She is our ESL Program Coordinator, and Ms. Megan Birchfield. She is our Multilingual Learner Accessibility Coach. We are a new department this year, and we are excited to share with you today how we are charting the course for unique learning needs here in Hamblen County. So just to start off, unique learning needs is a key term for us because we are a very diverse student population. Just as a quick overview, our profile of our district is pre-K through 12. We have approximately 10,350 students. And that was at the time of creating this PowerPoint. Our population has actually increased by 30 or 40 students since then. But across that population, we have approximately 700 teachers across 18 schools. Within our student population, 1/3 of our students are multilingual learners or students who are coming to us from a background other than or in conjunction with English. The demographic breakdown below us on the charts shows that we have a very diverse population. So why we're here today, we would like to share with you our data story as well as the population growth of students and how that made us rethink our journey moving forward with goal setting and the actions that we're doing to better meet the needs of our student population here in Hamblen County. And so here we are 1 year in the process of implementing some change. And so we are in the initiation and implementation stages of that. And we're going to share with you today the path that we've taken, some of the successes that we've experienced, and some of the lessons that we've learned so far. Because our ultimate goal is to get from initiation to implementation to a sense of institutionalization. And when we reach that, it's not things that we do, it's how we do things here. So everything starts with our district vision. This is where we strive to be as a district, and you're going to notice that this is not a bumper sticker. It's a lot longer than that because we wanted to collectively determine who we are and where we want to be down the road for our students. And so within that vision, we have several key statements. And we're going to dig into these statements across this presentation more. But where we strive to be as a district is that we have collective responsibility. Every staff member, every employee in Hamblen County Department of Education has a collective responsibility for the success of every student every day. And we do this because we believe that all students can learn and achieve at a high level. We are going to ensure that that occurs by building our district capacity together because we're going to guarantee a high quality education that's responsive for every student's unique learning needs, with the ultimate goal that we're preparing students to pursue whatever they want to do in life beyond after they've left our doors of our schools. That's our drive. As a multilingual learner department, we also looked at what's our vision? Where do we want to strive to be as a team? And first and foremost, we had to accept responsibility and own the vision as our own. And so every action that we take, we are living that vision. And it is our goal as leaders to empower others through the scope of this vision. As Megan likes to say, we want to make sure we keep the main thing the main thing. We want to have a focus, targeted goals, strategies, and action steps, because if you focus on everything, then you focus on nothing. And kind of implementing this is just how we operate as a department. So that's our vision of where we want to be as a team. With the vision in mind, and this is why this is entitled Charting the Course for Unique Learning Needs, the vision is really our North Star. Everything that we do is around that sense that we believe all students can learn and achieve at a high level. That idea of that collective ownership amongst all staff members, the idea that we're all lifelong learners and we're building that district capacity together, and that ultimately we're preparing students for post-secondary and career success. So when we look at all students learning and achieving at a high level, we really need to look at cultural and technical changes. When you approach technical changes, sometimes those are easy. Those are structural or organizational changes, but oftentimes we forget about the cultural change. When you're dealing with people, when people are experiencing change, that is a whole different aspect, and you have to approach shifts in mindset appropriately. So when you approach change, how do we approach that at the district level? We can't just come in and do a top-down, this is what we're going to do, if people don't understand the why. And so we try to really pinpoint what structures do we need to have in place, how do we need to approach that cultural aspect of change. And so we narrowed it down to that critical question, as a starting point. Do you believe that all students can learn and achieve at a high level? That was a good place for us to start.
So kind of connecting to that question, in a few of our trainings, we did an activity where we had 2 questions. To what degree do you believe all students can learn and achieve at a high level? And then to what degree do you feel your colleagues believe to this statement? And so we noticed that when our educators were completing this activity, that there was a discrepancy between the 2. And so we really thought about these questions, and it really caused us to be very reflective on beliefs and actions. And so really thinking through, when we say that we believe all students can learn and achieve at a high level, that we hold that belief to be true, what are the actions in our district, in our schools, in our classrooms that prove that we believe that all students can learn and achieve at a high level, and that we are carrying those out daily? And so what does a high level mean? And we're really digging in on that to making sure that all of the work that we are completing, all the actions that we are taking are supporting that we believe all students can learn and achieve at a high level.
So when we approach that mindset and when we're working with teachers, oftentimes it's easy to say, I believe that all students can learn and achieve at a high level. And then we go back and we ask, well, what does a high level mean to you? And that's where we get a lot of variance in our responses. And so to make sure that we're living that vision, the question that we really need to be asking to define what is a high level for this vision, is the student going to be expected to function independently when they leave us? That helps us frame and calibrate to what is a high level here. And so when we answer that question, if the answer to that is yes, this student is going to be expected to function independently after they have graduated from high school. If yes, then that high level means that it's grade level expectations for all students. If the answer is no, that means that we provide a very customized, individualized path using the 4 PLC questions to make an educational plan for that student that is reflective of their unique learning needs. And so we strive that all students are going to reach grade level expectations, because we know that that is the pathway to get us to the end goal where they can pursue whatever path they want in life. So again, that seems like a very easy structured pathway, but taking into account that cultural aspect of change, you can't go in and force a mindset change. So how do we approach mindsets when they're not aligned to the vision? And so we jokingly say sometimes you can ignore it, you can tackle it, or you can tackle them. And we know that we can't tackle them, but because it's going to build resentment and it's not going to change anything. If you ignore it when a mindset is not aligned to the vision, that is also not going to promote any change. So you have to tackle it, but you have to take a delicate approach. And oftentimes, what we're trying to figure out here is ultimately we want to get to this is just the way that we do things by reaching that institutionalization. How are we going to respond when we hit a bump in the road and that implementation gap? And so we look at, again, the cultural versus the technical change. What are the structures that we're looking to change? Is it needed? And what are the results in the culture when we make these changes? If we experience a teacher or an educator who is not yet in that same mindset toward the vision, we have to look and see, let's identify the challenge. Is it a lack of skill or understanding? Is it a lack of will? Or is it really a lack of understanding around the why of the change? And so that's where we approach change carefully with the aspect of cultural change in mind. So when we look at collective responsibility, the next piece of our vision, we again want to keep the mindset in focus here, the different types of change, but we're also structuring it around, we've got to set goals and strategies to make sure that we can reach our vision. And so back to the statement from the vision, all Hamlin County employees share that collective responsibility for the success of every student every day. And Hannah's going to talk about how we plant those seeds of change.
Yeah, and so thinking about as we're shifting and we have mindset shifts, thinking about planting seeds of change, but really just thinking about celebrating successes, finding things that are working well and naming those, calling them out, and highlighting those strong instructional practices so that we can really leverage the success that we're seeing, that we're finding throughout the district.
Because we know that the best way to build on success is that success builds on success. And so when we are approaching the collective responsibility, we want to have long-range goals in mind. We're not just looking at where do we want to be at the end of this year. If we're going to reach our vision, we have to think long-term. We know that 5 years seems a little bit far out. And so where we set our first measure point was, where do we want to be at the end of 3 years? And we mapped out what are the outcomes that we want to see. And then we set our goals using a backward design. These goals are going to inform the planning process along the way. Where do we want to be and what steps will we need to take to get there? And so our entry points, this is how we approached this aspect of change. Where do we want to be at the end of year 1? How can we build on the existing systems and structures that we have in place now? Because we don't want to create another isolated silo, if you will. We want to look at what are we already doing? What tweaks can we make to that to help us edge toward that next layer in our goal setting? And then we approached the same process for year 2 and year 3. Again, the idea is that we're streamlining the processes. This is just how we operate. It's not something we do, it's how we do things.
Yeah, so when we're thinking about our goals and guiding our work in alignment with these goals, we want to make sure that they are data-driven, that they are informed by all the pieces of data that we have available, that they are audaciously attainable. We're using data to improve, not to prove. So we don't want to use any data to label students or groups of students. And we want to continually be monitoring progress, checking in, seeing what things are working. When we find things that are working, naming that, shouting it out, and leveraging that success. And if we see something that is not proving to be successful, that we pivot and we make a change when we need to and shift from that. So just continually using those layers in our data analysis for our goals. And so then for our MLL goal, our goal 1 would be to increase our MLL student achievement to 50% by the end of school year 24-25, specifically focusing on our MLL group of the Hispanic and Pacific Islander. And that is because those groups of students are our largest represented populations, as well as our EL student group falling under that MLL group as well.
So thinking through our goals, we wanted to have some high leverage strategies that would help us meet those goals. We wanted to make sure that we were coalesced around the vision, that we were building our teacher capacity, pushing all students toward acceleration, and doing that through providing differentiated supports and targeted professional learning. So thinking about that targeted professional learning and thinking through building capacity, we wanted to make sure that we did that through a unique learning needs institute, which we will talk about. So part of this is making sure that we are building capacity through our vision, and that vision really aligns to the acceleration practice. Acceleration is us living the vision. It's a systematic process that brings all students to grade level and beyond, regardless of their unique learning needs. And that comes through planning for proficiency for all students. We as teachers have to intellectually prep in order to think of scaffolds and strategies and then apply those in the classroom. And this all aligns to practices that we already have in place in our district, like intellectual preparation for teachers, as well as our PLC processes. Part of the differentiated supports that we're offering to teachers is by providing individualized supports to schools. We have 18 schools in our district, and 18 schools are 18 very different schools. And so we want to meet the needs of each of those schools by providing them with what they need. We've met with principals and tried to offer some specific things on scheduling supports and individual student supports. We've also offered several professional development that is focused on our multilingual learners throughout the year. Things like teaching math, science, and social studies, and having a focus on how to do that with the MLL student in mind. Our department has also created and utilized an accessibility walkthrough tool that supports our IPG tool to look at are accessible practices happening in the classroom that allows all students an entry point into that content. And we've also done a lot of co-planning, co-teaching, and coaching cycles with our teachers. One thing that we are really proud of in our district is our targeted professional development. Previously in our district, we had a professional development academy where teachers could choose different things and they could go and learn about different topics. But last year, we really shifted focus and aligned our professional development as a district to the vision. And we came up with the Unique Learning Needs Institute. At this institute, there are two pathways. There's the pathway for students with students with disabilities, and there's the pathway for multilingual learners. And teachers would take one of those two pathways and learn specific, specialized, targeted things for that group of students. We offered this twice during the summer, and we are growing on that this coming year by adding the acceleration piece to that and really thinking through how can we, now that we have the base understanding of these student groups, accelerate them to grade level and beyond. We also have an MLL cohort, which is a really exciting program that we have for our teachers. This is a very targeted professional development that we offered to all district teachers and administrators starting last year. And it was focused on building and applying knowledge of linguistic and content development simultaneously. And we were introducing the WIDA ELD framework as an entry point into this. Last summer in 2023, we had 33 participants complete this training. Shifting to this year, we are expanding that offering, and we are so happy to say that we have 113 teachers who have signed up for this cohort and made this commitment for our students. That is 15 to 16% of our teachers. Combined with last year's number, that's 21% of the teachers in our district, which means 1 in 5 of our teachers in Hamlin County will be duly certified and equipped to meet the needs of multilingual learners. Also, along with this summer training, they have one-on-one coaching support and custom professional development throughout the year. Coaching cycles, accessibility walks, routine, additional professional development. And this is an accelerated pathway to earn an ESL endorsement when we've partnered with a local university that helps us do that.
Something else that we're really excited about in our district is the EL Literacy Summit. This is a collaborative professional development event for EL teachers in Hamlin County. This will take place in May. It's a 3-day event for our EL teachers to come together to learn even more about best practices, research. And this year, we're really going to focus on literacy. We know that there is a lot of new information out there in the world of literacy connected to the science of reading and specifically related to English learners. So we really want to make sure that our teachers are equipped with those best practices to take back to the classroom. And like Stephanie mentioned earlier, We have a lot of good work that's happening around professional learning communities in our district. So we really want to leverage our EL teachers in those PLCs and with content teachers or with EL teachers across the district. And we also just want to have that opportunity to collaborate. We have 54 EL teachers in the district, and we want to make sure that we are promoting that collaboration amongst the EL teachers. So we're just really excited about this event. This will be the first year, but we hope to be able to continue it in the future. So we look forward to this.
All right. So rounding out, if we go back to our district vision, which is our North Star, that last and arguably the most critical component to that vision is that we want to prepare all of our students to leave our classroom doors when they graduate, following whatever path and feeling equipped to pursue whatever path they would like to, whether that's post-secondary or career. And so some important preparatory steps for that is that we need to partner with our counseling. And so our counseling departments, especially at the high school level, as well as focusing on the college and career readiness components. And so going back to our data story, we work very closely together with all departments here in our central office. And what we noticed for accountability around Ready Graduate Indicator and the College and Career Readiness Indicator was that our two highest opportunities for student groups continue to fall with our multilingual learners and our students with disabilities. And so we partnered with our CTE department to align our two sets of goals for our annual district plan to make sure that we were targeting these two student groups to increase opportunities. And so working with our counselors across the district, we're looking to make more effective our scheduling processes. We want to make sure that students have any opportunity that they would like to learn a trade, to engage in AP classes, dual enrollment classes. And so making sure that they're a critical component of the scheduling process. And that comes with regular meetings with our counseling department. In addition, going back to that MLL cohort, this year we really targeted participation from our CTE teachers to make sure that they felt better equipped to meet the needs of our multilingual learners through CTE programming. In addition to that, we're looking at partnering ESL teachers with CTE teachers through CTE coursework to engage in co-teaching opportunities with an emphasis on accessible instruction in those courses. So all of those things are a work in progress that we're trying to coordinate together to make sure that we can improve outcomes for students around pursuing post-secondary and career pathways. So all of these things that we're working toward, it's important, again, going back to keep the main thing. We need to make sure that we stay the course. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to measure often, we're going to monitor often, and we're going to make adjustments when our data are not showing that they are giving us the outcomes that we intend to. And then we're going to repeat that. It's like a recipe: measure, monitor, and adjust, and repeat. We're going to continue to build upon the existing structures that we have in place as a district. We're really heavily going to emphasize the role of acceleration, as Megan talked about. That is planning for proficiency so that we can live the all students can learn and achieve at a high level through the many opportunities that we offer of building capacity, whether it's the Unique Learning Needs Institute offered in the summer or the expansion of our MLL cohorts. We need to focus on continuing to build our own capacity around unique learning needs throughout the year, and we're very excited for the opportunities that we have to come. So with that said, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you joining us today. And if we could ever be of any help to you, please don't hesitate to reach out.